just so
Welcome, hola, what's good? Hey, y'all, hey, you are tuned in to Circle Up with Amanda Hurd. What's good, family? Listen, here we are, Chapter 2, Season 5, Episode 3, The Tool of Faith. So find it not strange that faith is literally the tool that is released after the tool of prayer. And it's so important that this is the tool that is next in line, because it's not easy to pray without faith. It's not easy to keep utilizing all of the things that you've exercised in prayer, and you've gained this fabulous prayer life, but you haven't learned to trust the work of your prayer. You haven't learned to trust the power of your prayer. You haven't learned to allow God to fully manifest that prayer. You've learned all the right ways to come to Him. You've learned that being you is enough. You've learned to tackle everything that you need to tackle in order to accomplish having a praying lifestyle. But now it's time to really grab hold of that thing that's going to help you see those prayers through, that's going to help you really be able to bear witness to those prayers. And what is that? What is that thing? That very thing is the tool of faith. And now you may be able to understand a little bit more why I said that the tool of prayer was extremely important to be first, even though many may think that we need faith before prayer. But if you really dig deep into it, having faith without really understanding how to work prayer, it's almost like they bump heads and you won't really be able to get through what you're trying to get through. But if you can talk this thing out with God, if you can find time to really come to God and say, look here, God, I've been praying, I've been spending time, I've been making sure that, we got that QT time going on, and there's just something that I'm still struggling with. There's a little piece of me that feels as if something is just not connecting. What is that, God? I've learned that this thing called faith has to take place. Can you help me exercise that faith so that it is strengthened as I pray for the things that I'm praying for, that I have enough belief in them that they will come to pass? How do I move in the belief of the things that I'm asking for? And this is where that tool steps right in. This is where that tool pretty much provides the way for the next tools to fall in place. And so let's walk right into it. So once again, I'm not going to give you guys all the details of the book, because I do want you to purchase the book and really have this guide to help you be able to get through those darker seasons, and something that can literally guide you in depth to be able to work these things out. This is almost like just a tool outside of the tools, something that can help you add to the book, something that can help you really dig a little deeper into the book. And so when you use these two together, you'll be able to really see yourself through those dark situations. So let's talk about it. The tool of faith. Faith is one of those things that requires an action. And so many times I've heard, faith without works is dead. You have to really work your faith. You have to really work that truth. You have to really go into this thing with this stern belief that it's going to happen. It's going to move. And how is it going to happen? How is it going to move? We don't know, but through God. But as long as we are in position, as long as we are in line, and this is why prayer is important, as long as we are following the instructions that are given to us through prayer, then it's working that faith. It's working that thing. And a really great example of that is if we've been praying to God for, let's say, a new job. We've been praying to God for a career job. We have been working these endless jobs over and over, day in, day out, and getting paid little to nothing. And it's just, you get to that place where you feel like you're worth more. You feel like what you do is worth a lot more. You feel like there's a lot more inside of you. You feel like done are with the days of where I used to be. I feel myself growing and pulling into something new. So, Lord, I need you to really open up a door for me for a new position, and not just any position, but a career position. Lord, I know that it may seem easy because if I'm looking for something such as a new job, I can just go fill out an application. Or if I'm looking for a career job, I can just, go to school and, take up some studies on a particular thing that I'm interested in. But Lord, my case is a little bit different. I can't really afford school. And not only that, but where I came from, and where I am now, I don't have time for school. And this turnaround I need now, because now I'm in this rut. Now I'm in this place where I just can't make it out without a sudden move. So Lord, I need you. Lord, open this door for me. So here we are in this gracious prayer, here we are, in this conversation with God, and in the midst of the conversation, as I told you guys, prayer opens up the door for insight. It gives us directions and instructions. And so God responds to our prayer. And as he's responding to you, of course, he's not going to abracadabra you and whip-de-doo, there you go. You're in your brand new job with your brand new career and your brand new outfit and your brand new look with your brand new smile. No, he gives us insight and instruction and direction. So with this thing, he may tell you, okay, I need you to go to this particular school, and I need you to fill out this particular application within this amount of time. And you're looking, and all of a sudden you begin to play these thoughts in your mind going against what you're hearing and what you're feeling. You're like, am I going crazy? Why am I hearing school? Why am I hearing, apply? Why am I hearing things that I can't afford right now, or I don't qualify for? Why am I doing this? And when we begin to really battle against those, the wisdom that God is placing inside of us, or the instruction that God is placing inside of us with our own thoughts, then we are going against faith. We're not working our faith. We're not working the plan that God is telling us is going to succeed. See, when we can only see what's right in front of us, God is showing us that he sees the final resort. God is showing us which way to go, which door to go through, which doors are open, what people already have our names on their minds and their hearts, our faces that they've already envisioned. There's so many people that are in line, and so many people that are waiting to hear or to meet you at the place which God ordained, which God made divine. And we're going against them by not working our faith. And so when we find ourselves in this prayer, when we find ourselves moving accordingly to the instructions that he's given us, that is showing that we are working our faith. That is showing that we are working the plan like only God knows how it needs to be worked. And when we begin to work in those ways, there is nothing that we can't conquer. There is nothing that we can't do. There is nothing that can come before us that will completely snatch us out of our promised place. But it's all about working that faith. It's all about following those instructions wholeheartedly too. We can't just do part of what he said, or only do part 1, part 2, step 1, step 2, and think that step 3 will just fulfill itself. But we have to fulfill the whole thing, and that requires a work. That requires us to do something that goes against, sometimes literally, that thing in us that think it knows best, right? And so a little story to share with you all. I remember when my husband and I, we were journeying looking for a house. And it was so amazing because as we were looking for a house, first of all, it happened in such a season that was not set up for us to apply for any houses. It wasn't set up in such a time for us to qualify to get in any houses. It wasn't nothing around us. And I mean, when I say nothing, I mean financial wise. I mean, just like mentally wise, where we were, just everything. Nothing in us was set up for being able to move into a house. And where we currently were, we were there for maybe a good 12, 13 years. So we have been where we came from for a long time. So when we started to get the urge and we started to receive just insight that we needed to start looking for houses, we needed to start fixing our credit, we needed to start really being on search of this thing, it was kind of awkward. It was kind of weird, in that case, it's one of those places where you think that you know better. So normally, we would go against such thing, because it doesn't line up with anything in our current situation. What would make us want to work towards that feeling? And so at that time frame, I remember being so intentional in praying. I remember being so connected with God, in tune with what God wanted from us and what God needed from us in that season. And it was so crazy yet amazing because in that time I spent a lot of time journaling. Every time I would hear the voice of God, every time I would feel the urge to do something that was so against my personal will, I would write it out. Every time I felt that God was speaking to me to do a certain thing or to go a certain place, I would write it out, believing that this thing has to come to pass, because who am I to make this stuff up? Who am I to just all of a sudden believe this is what it is and it's just going to happen without any force behind it? And so as the instructions got laid out, I remember sharing them with my husband, and I remember telling him that we were going to know our home by the way it felt. I remember telling him that God was telling me that the place that we were going to be in, we would know it to be so by the way that it felt. It's going to feel like home. It's going to feel like change didn't really take place. It's going to feel, he expressed to me so many different ways of how we would know that the house we were going to be moving into is ours, that you couldn't knock it. And so I remember being on this journey, and we went in and out several houses. We wanted many of the houses that we seen, and we made bids on more houses than they probably should have allowed us to. And I remember, really wanting to fight for this one house. And it was so crazy because when we were trying to fight for this one house, there was nothing in that house that met the requirements of what God said we were going to know our home by. But still in that time, we were fighting for that place. And long story short, when we didn't get that place, it was kind of sad because the whole family was just so sold that was the house we were going to be in. And so when that happened, we began to really kind of stop working the plan, stop working the instructions. I remember going to view houses after the fact. And when we would view, we went to view this one house, and when we went in there, we liked the house. It felt good. I mean, everything about the house was okay, but we had just came out of a place where the place we thought we really wanted didn't come to pass. And so we started losing our faith, I would say. And I want to be clear when I say this, because it's not that we completely removed ourselves from it, but now we were working more towards our doubt and getting into a place versus working towards our faith of allowing God's word to manifest, right? And so I remember leaving the place that we were last visiting, and our realtor, he was like, do you guys want to make any bids today? And now remind you, we were like bid kings and queens. We were bidding on everything. At this place, we were just dry out of bidding. We were like, nah, we don't think we're going to do anything today. He was like, are you sure? I feel like we have, we really have our foot in the door with this one place. And we were like, we started losing track of the prayer. We started losing track of the vision, the instructions. And so we were like, we didn't really have too much hope into it. But then, I don't know, something really arose inside of us. And I want to say it was a reminder of the instructions. I would love to say that it was a reminder of what God said. And when we really sat and thought about it, and we really sat and talked it out, everything circled back to the place of how it felt in that place, how it felt in that home that we last visit. And so when we began to think on that, and when we began to talk about that, we decided to go full force with it. We decided to stop working our doubt and began working our faith. And when we started working our faith in this area again, it met up with the agreement that God had already established, the agreement that God had already set aside for us. And we literally, long story short again, was able to walk right into our home that He has set aside for such a divine time. And like I said, it wasn't anything that in that season that qualified us for this particular home. It wasn't anything that we did in our own might that made this opportunity an opportunity that put us first on the list. This was a God move, and we only knew that because of prayer. We only knew that because the work that we did through faith. If we would not have worked the plan that God gave us, if we would not have worked our faith and all the instructions that He gave us, we may have surely still been in the same place that we were in. And I believe so many times we miss out opportunities, we miss out jobs, we miss out relationships, we miss out on so many things that God has set aside for us because we don't work our faith. I don't know how many times that God has set certain divine times aside for us to meet up with particular people that may have had exactly what we needed in the season, or to shake the hands of someone who could possibly have been our business partner if we would have only worked the plan. I don't know how many ideas that He has placed inside of you or has placed inside of those that are listening, has placed inside of me, that I refused to work the faith. I refuse to work my faith in the plan that I never reached. A lot of times we get comfortable with saying delayed but not denied, delayed but not denied. But some things I believe are delayed because of our lack of faith. Some things God is trying to do right then and there. Some things God desires to manifest suddenly, but because of our lack of faith, because of our lack of movement and what He has called us to do, working what He has called us to do, we lose out on some amazing opportunities. I have grown into a place where I've learned that working your doubt will get you nowhere. Working your doubt is a comfort zone. Working your doubt is what you're used to. Working your doubt does nothing for you. It's unhealthy. Working your doubt is literally keeping you in this place that is allowing you to put a false name on God. It's allowing you to diminish His work, to stain His work, His name. And it's crazy because when this normally happens, what follows through is people begin to make excuses for God. And God is not a God that we have to make excuses for. God is a God who can stand on His own. His name is bold enough by itself, is strong enough and powerful enough by itself that it needs no excuses. So if He says a thing, He can complete the thing. He will do whatever he says he's gonna do. But we have to understand that when he is instructing us to do a thing, when he is telling us that we are part of this plan, we are part of this routine, we are part of what it is that he's doing in this season, we are now on duty. And this duty requires us to drop that job where we've worked in the fields of believing our doubt and exercising our doubt, and now move and grow and give our all in our faith, working it out to the best of what it was called for. So I hope this message was a message that was really encouraging. Like I said, I don't want to go too deep into the tool of faith, because the book really lays out how to work these tools. It really lays out what the tool is all about, and how you can connect this tool to your situation to pull yourself out of that place of doubt and really move into the greater blessings of life. So grab hold of this. And like I said, when you get your copy of the book, when the book is released, really listen to this episode as you read the chapter or as you read the message that comes across with the tool of faith, and really find yourself in there so that you can utilize this thing and see the works of God. So I hope you're able to grab something that's going to grow you, stretch you, reach you right where you are. I hope that you were blessed by this message. I hope this is a message that you can use even right now. You can share with a friend or a family member. You can find a group to circle up with and really talk about these things so that you guys are able to start moving in your faith now. Listen, if this is your first time tuning in to Circle Up with Amanda Hurd, we welcome you. We hope that this was a message that you were certainly in love with, something that was able to help you right where you are. We encourage you to run over to our Facebook and Instagram page. That is at circleup_CH. If you have any questions or need our help with anything, feel free to reach out to us through email at circleup.ah@gmail.com. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel at Circle Up with Amanda Hurd. Be blessed, guys.